With PAX Unplugged coming to an end, that also indicates the end of the 2021 convention season. Now, this was a weird convention season. We had a lot of conventions crammed into a very small amount of time, just a few months to cover everything from Gen Con to Origins to BGG Con. I was able to attend a few of those conventions. Now, one thing I want to say, of course, we are in the world of COVID right now. I think our conventions did a great job requiring people to be vaccinated, requiring people to be wearing masks at all times, and really, I didn't see many people trying to infract on that. It was a great experience, and it could have been really bad, but I was very encouraged to see the way that things were handled. But that out of the way, I was able to attend some of the conventions this year and see some new unreleased games and play some prototypes of games that will be coming out sometime in 2022 and beyond. So today I want to talk about the top 5 unreleased games that I played this convention season.
5.
Number 5 is Green Team Wins, coming soon from 25th Century Games. Now, this game was designed by the same team that designed Medium and kind of serves as their follow-up. This does also kind of lean into groupthink a little bit, but it's definitely a different style of game. You're not just working with one partner trying to mind meld, you're trying to get into the heads of everyone playing at the table, because everyone is going to have a card in front of them that has a green side and an orange side. Of course, Green Team Wins. You want to be on the green side. So how do you get on the green side? You answer a question on a dry erase board, and you have to answer in the majority. So you need to decide what you think not only are you going to choose, but everyone else at the table is going to choose. Everyone reveals, and anyone that's in the majority gets to flip over to the green team or stay on the green team and accrue points. If you didn't guess what the group was thinking, then you're back to the orange team. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. This is kind of a neat game because it's one of those big reveal moments where you think, oh, I've got the answer. Everyone is going to place this. The clue is baby. It's going to be shark. I know it's going to be shark. And then everybody flips over baby boy. What? No. So it leads to those moments where you think you really got the majority nailed down, and then you're flipping over to the orange side. So it's not a game necessarily you could be good or bad at. It's just one of those fun experimental party games. I love this game. I had a blast playing it in its prototype form, and I'm excited to see it when it officially comes out sometime in the future.
4.
Number 4 is Soulforge Fusion. This is a 2-player card game from the minds of Richard Garfield and Justin Gary. These are the creators of Magic the Gathering and Ascension. So you've got a great pedigree here behind this game. And this is an interesting game. It was actually based on a digital game that came out years ago called Soulforge. This is a kind of almost Keyforge type game where you're going to be mashing together different sets of cards and playing in a battle against your opponent. But what's interesting here is how your cards actually get stronger as you play the game. As you play these cards, they come out onto the battlefield, they go away. You're going to be replacing them with upgraded versions, allowing you to constantly power up your deck. Of course, there's all the strategy that you would come to expect from a game developed by these two designers. It's very much a 1v1 experience. I'm sure that there are other different game modes that could be played with this, but I got to play the 1v1 mode and had a blast with it. If you were a big fan of Keyforge and you want to see that kind of advanced to a new elevation, I would say that this is it. There's a lot more depth there than there was in Keyforge. You have a lot more control over how your deck plays. Keyforge was incredibly random. I mean, not every deck was created equal. And I don't know in Soulforge, I don't know if you're going to have that same issue where maybe some decks are just not as inherently strong as other combinations, but I'm interested to play it enough to find out. This was a game that was on Kickstarter, so it should be coming out actually probably closer than some of these other games, sometime early maybe 2022 or mid 2022. We'll see, but that is Soulforge Fusion. Definitely check that one out when it comes out. If you like Magic the Gathering and Keyforge, this one is one you do not want to miss.
3.
Sagrada Legacy. Now, this is kind of a cheat because I didn't actually get to play Sagrada Legacy, but I did get to see it in pretty deep depth. Now, I will preface this by saying there's a lot I can't talk about, and if you already saw my PAX Unplugged recap, then you've probably heard of some of this before, but I have to say that I'm very, very excited about Sagrada Legacy. I will admit that when I first heard about it, I wasn't sure how this was going to play out. Were they going to go with that narrative element where you're telling a Sagrada story over time? Were they going to go with like that life path element where you're playing a character that's gaining skills in glass making? I don't know. I had no idea what direction it was going to go. Now I have a better idea. I'm not going to spoil any of it. But one thing that I can talk about, and that was kind of teased in the actual game itself, is the idea that this is a colored pencil type game. You actually have a colored pencil, and this is kind of built into the logo. If you look at the Sagrada Legacy logo, you'll see that pencil there. This is going to use a set of colored pencils. So instead of actually just taking a die and placing it out in front of you, you're actually going to be able to use that colored pencil and shade in something on a little sheet. And so this allows them to use that same Sagrada formula, that same puzzle that you will know from Sagrada, but to change it up a little bit by offering different sets of puzzles. I don't want to say too much or spoil too much, but let's just say that because it's shading, they're not stuck to that traditional square shape. So they can do some crazy different things. And of course, this is a legacy game, so you're going to have a lot of things that progress and change over the course of the game. You're going to have envelopes to open. You're going to have stickers, I'm sure, to put out. I've not seen a lot of the final components, but I did get to kind of see the book that has all your different Sagrada puzzles in it, and it's very cool. It's getting me very, very hyped for Sagrada Legacy, a game that I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it. Now has become one of my most anticipated games after actually getting to be hands-on with the prototype. It's very cool. I think if you're fans of Sagrada, fans of legacy games, this one is going to do some things that are different from your standard like Pandemic Legacies and Clank Legacies. It's very unique, and you're going to want to check this one out.
2.
Tidal Blades: Rise of the Unfolders. This is the standalone sequel to the game Tidal Blades: Heroes of the Reef, and it kind of takes place after that first game. However, unlike the first game, this is not a competitive experience. This is a cooperative adventure tactical game. You're actually playing on a team with other Heroes of the Reef, other Tidal Blades as they're called, and you're working together to basically defeat enemies, protect civilians, and play through a story adventure. I've only gotten to play the very beginning of this game, so I haven't been able to spoil a lot. There are a ton of different scenarios that are coming out. I was able to play through the first one, but what's really unique about this game is the 2-part book system. You have map books instead of having to do with map tiles, and it's 2 books laid next to each other, and they lay completely flat. Because there's 2 books, there's no spiral in the middle, so you have like almost like a game board, but you can open up and flip different parts of that book to change up half of the map at a time. So this could be a building, and then when you're getting ready to move into the building, you get to flip to a different page and actually see what's inside the building, which is really cool. They also have another book that can be placed in different positions around the table to kind of add on different segments to the board as needed to allow for a more dynamic board creation. So you're not always just playing on a flat board. And these boards, of course, are very heavily illustrated. You've got the Cuddingtons back doing all the world building and artwork for this game. And the tease here, the Rise of the Unfolders, I didn't play long enough to find out what the Unfolders are, but it sounds like this is the next threat that the Tidal Blades are going to be facing. If you remember, in the first Tidal Blades game, you're in the middle of a training session where you're getting attacked by creatures from beyond the fold, that like magic barrier that protects the city, and these sea creatures are coming in and attacking you, and you have to kind of fight them off. I imagine that we're going to follow up with that plot line. We're going to see more of these creatures, and I know even in the first scenario, you're fighting off some beasts that are trying to invade. So that's your new job as a Tidal Blade, but I'm interested to see where this story will go. You've got quite a list of interesting characters to play, and these characters feel very thematic. They all have unique decks of cards, and you have an interesting grid system where you have the 3x3 grid, and you're playing out these cards into the grid, and you're triggering them. You're triggering a row or a column as you play them. And so you're actually kind of building your own combo system as you play this game by placing cards that you like closer together, and you've got a hand and you're choosing which card might fit. Again, it's a very, very cool system, and it felt very satisfying and quick to play. So that is basically Tidal Blades: Rise of the Unfolders.
1.
This is Jurassic Park Legacy coming from Funko Games. I am a huge Jurassic Park fan. I've read the books, I've seen the movies. I love the Unmatched set Jurassic Park, and my kid loves that Camp Cretaceous show. He's got me sucked in watching every season of that animated kids version of Jurassic Park. So I am incredibly excited to see this game. This is a cooperative legacy game that plays through Jurassic Park and beyond. I know there's some Jurassic World stuff even teased on the cover. You're going to see a lot of familiar characters that you know from the movies, as well as some characters that were created just for this game, and they all have their own storylines, goals, motivations, and things like that. And you're basically building out Jurassic Park, which is really cool. Of course, there's going to be trouble along the way. There's going to be disasters that you have to handle and mitigate as a team. And what's neat here is that the system continues to move forward. Whether you win or lose, you're moving forward onto the next chapter in the story. And when you're done, you're going to be left with a completely replayable version of the game that can be played over and over again with the board state that you ended the game with. Now, something I want to note here, this is one of the few legacy games that I've seen that's built on a new system. It's not a Pandemic Legacy or even Sagrada Legacy is based on the core of Sagrada. This is an entirely new game system where you're going to be basically doing action selection to move around a board and interact with the board in a variety of ways, mitigating threats, helping out the dinosaurs, completing objectives, and I'm sure that this board is going to change over time. There's a lot of different envelopes. You can see a great thickness there. I'm sure there's cardboard and rules and stickers and just everything that you come to expect in a legacy game hidden away in there. But what I really love about this game is just the way that it looks. They really nailed the feeling of like a pulp adventure. The scenario guides are little comic books. All the character cards have really cool thematic artwork. So this is a game that I will 100% be keeping my eye on. It should be coming out to crowdfunding, I think, sometime next year, and I'm not sure if it's releasing in 2022 or early 2023, but this was a really cool game. I didn't get to play more than just like a tutorial demo. I really just want to get back in there, jump back into the Jurassic Park world, and play through that entire legacy campaign. So those were 5 great games that I saw at conventions this year. 2022 will be kicking off with some new conventions eventually. We'll see how the convention scene progresses as we respond to COVID. As far as I know, there will be conventions again, so you can start planning for those, especially maybe later in the year, a year from now. Maybe we'll have a better handle on this thing. We'll see. But hopefully I'll see you guys there at some conventions, and hopefully I'll be seeing a bunch of great new prototypes next year that I'll get to talk about in another video just like this. But until I see you again, keep having fun at the table. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at MVM, and I'll see you later.
Congratulations, you got to the end of one of our videos. Now, if you want more practice, just click on the video over here. It's another video. You might not have seen it yet, so click on it. If you don't want to do that, at least click on the subscription button below. That always helps us. And if you want notifications, please ring that bell.